Good evening, everybody. It is Meteorologist Aiden's Weather Forecast, and welcome back to another YouTube video, guys. Hope you guys are enjoying your Thursday afternoon or evening. And I'm actually very excited, guys. Tomorrow is Friday, so finally get the chance to possibly rest. It's been quite a rough week with all these forecasts and school and practice and all this stuff. So yeah, I'm kind of glad the weekend's gonna come in. I hope you guys all enjoyed your yesterday 9/11 day. Hopefully, you guys were able to possibly hang out with your family and just pray for the people who lost their lives. And if you lost any yesterday, I'm very sorry for your loss, and I'm keep on bringing that up because it is such a huge deal. And yeah, it's just a huge day in American history. So yeah. Guys, we're going to be looking at the actually Tropical Depression 9 has formed in the Atlantic and could pose a threat for parts of the Gulf of Mexico and maybe even Florida and the eastern coast. So that's what we're going to be looking at here, guys, and it could potentially go over the areas that just got affected by Dorian about 2 weeks ago. So yeah, there's still a lot of flooding issues, no power. So this is why it's going to be a big deal. And yeah, without further ado, let's get in the video. So we are going to be looking at the 5-day graphical tropical weather outlook here, and as you can tell, we have less systems here in the Atlantic. We have like 5 or 7, all like in the 20% chance to 80% chance here. Tropical Depression 9 actually just formed about a couple hours ago, I think, because last time I checked, it was actually still Invest 95L. But then when I refreshed it about maybe an hour ago, it became Tropical Depression 9. So here it is at 25 knots or 30 miles per hour here. It is at 1,008 millibars, and it is moving 8 miles per hour. And it actually has not really they're saying it is very, very, very likely to become a tropical depression here. They are seeing 70% chance for the next 48 hours, and the next 80% chance, which is actually high for the next 5 days. So again, could potentially bring a threat out here for the Bahamas that get affected by Dorian, of course, just a couple of days ago, or about a couple of weeks ago, maybe about 1.5 to 2 weeks ago, when Dorian was going over the Bahamas. And again, it could potentially go into the Gulf of Mexico here and possibly go up Florida or possibly even go up the East Coast like Dorian did. So again, it's not going to be taking the exact path as Dorian, but it could most likely take around somewhat very close to what Dorian did. So here we have Tropical Depression of 9 right here. Again, not really organized. Again, doesn't have vorticity, doesn't have rotation whatsoever. Because again, it has just became a system, so you can't expect a whole lot out of it right now. Really, basically the only reason why they kind of looked at this because it's a lot of rain, and it does have some high winds there. Again, we do have some areas that are bringing some bands, though, that are bringing rain for close to the areas of the islands, the Grand Bahama Island, for example. Those areas will be in the clear for now, but again, it will continue to move 8 miles per hour and possibly bring a threat for those areas in the Grand Bahama Islands and Nassau. You guys will be seeing also a huge threat, maybe with some flooding. But again, of course, it won't be as bad as Dorian because, again, hit you as a Category 5. But again, this could possibly only become a tropical storm. Shouldn't see a Category 1 out of this. And there's a chance it could become a Category 1 if it goes up the East Coast. Again, very uncertain right now because, again, it just became a system. So we can't really say exactly where it's going to go. That's why we're going to be looking at the tracks and all that. Again, we have we don't have any vorticity, but again, we have just the slightest amount of rotation going on right here. But again, it's not really a whole really big deal right now. But again, it could bring a threat for parts of the southeast. And maybe again, there's a very uncertain right now for the tracks. Again, the tracks we'll be looking at next. They're pretty all over the place right now, but we're just gonna take a guess for what we see based on the models right now. So again, we actually already have tropical storm warnings in effect for the areas of the Bahamas. It actually must be very, very scary in the Bahamas Islands right now, having tropical storm warnings right after a Category 5. I really can't even imagine having a system 2 weeks later to worry about. And again, it could maybe only be a tropical storm, and it shouldn't make landfall as a tropical storm in the Bahamas. Again, it should make it as the depression, but it really shouldn't. Should go away here. Again, it could become a tropical storm, but again, we still need to watch out and see exactly if it will or if it could. So again, this is what we're looking at here in the track or the model in the timing. So here it is for the next 1 to 3 days. This is what it's looking like right here. So again, it's not going to be as, it doesn't look like it's going to be stalling like Dorian. It could maybe just go right off the coast of Florida too. So like these areas near Melbourne, West Palm Bay, could be like almost really exactly what happened with Dorian, except Dorian went like this. But again, it's going to be very close. It's going to be like right here. So Florida, so far, Florida has been very lucky this year so far. And then we should see a weakening tropical depression again. But there is again, the models or the NOAA's model guidance here, or the cone obviously shows it going back out on the east coast, and it's actually a bigger threat if it goes up the east coast than going through much of all of Florida into the Gulf. Because again, you guys are going to see later in the video why it's a bigger threat going up the east coast. Now we're going to be looking at the model track guidance. That's what I'm saying. It kind of is all over the place right here. We have a couple areas. Again, we have some actually going through straight through Miami. And we have about 2 to 3. Actually, we have 3 to 4 models showing going to the Gulf of Mexico. And this is where it gets a little tricky. We have some actually not going through the Grand Bahama Islands and then going, not even hitting Florida. And then we have the other good amount of models actually saying possibly hitting Melbourne, maybe Savannah, and Charleston. Again, not as a hurricane, or not likely to become a hurricane. Again, there's probably 10% chance because of a hurricane before it hits Florida. Again, it is looking like some of the models are going out like this. I really think it might go out kind of like this, really. Again, really early to see. Again, we have a lot of areas that can go like this and go like this. It can actually eventually probably go straight through Florida like this. It can actually go maybe straight through Florida like this, or it can go into the Gulf of Mexico. So as you can tell, we have a lot of areas. I'm actually going to agree with it going possibly off the coast of Florida. I don't think it's going to go in the Gulf of Mexico. I really don't think that would happen. But again, Dorian actually surprised me too with how it ended up going. But for now, I'm going to say I'm going to agree with it possibly making the slightest landfall on Florida and then going up the East Coast. But again, I could be wrong. It could my opinion could change tomorrow. So it just need to wait a little bit. As we continue on the next 24 hours, we should see about the same conditions tomorrow. But as we move on, again, it's going to be not the fastest moving storm, but by Sunday we should see it possibly as a tropical storm with 59 knots going near the areas near Jacksonville, Melbourne. Again, it's obviously going to be a whole lot weaker. And this is the thing, we could potentially maybe see a Category 1 hurricane. Again, there's a possibility of a hurricane, but it's not looking like it's going to be super duper soon. I'm saying there's a 10% chance before it even hits the Bahamas or Florida. But again, this is a different occasion. By a Monday, it's past Florida. It's actually looking like exactly like Dorian. It really is looking like we're looking at Dorian right now. It's looking very close to a Dorian. And now we look at this. We look at seeing 112 knots, guys. This is an issue. It's going to be going in such warm waters up the East Coast. But again, that's only one of the other things that can possibly occur. Again, we have all these other areas where it can go off the Florida area, go into the Gulf, up the East Coast. That again, we can't worry about this right now, as it's only one of the things that could happen. This can completely change tomorrow to going to the Gulf, or not even going up the East Coast. Again, it looks like we could, for now, we are going to have to worry about possibly maybe having a hurricane off the Carolinas. And this one looks a whole lot closer. It kind of looks like a Sandy. It really looks like Hurricane Sandy, guys. It does not look as close as Dorian for sure. But again, this will be a huge issue for the New England area. And of course, for the Nova Scotia area. They got really hit by Dorian, not wind-wise, but rainfall-wise, and again, they're not used to possibly seeing Category 2 force winds. So now we'll be looking at the radar. Again, we have a couple models again showing hitting up the East Coast and Gulf, and then right now the European model does show it going up the East Coast, so that's only one of the things we're seeing. Now for the GFS, here we have this system right here. This is Saturday at 1,010 millibars. That's what the GFS is showing right now, and we're going to be watching it closely. The GFS actually shows it going through Florida into the Gulf of Mexico. So again, here's European. European starts going up the East Coast, actually like right up the East Coast, and then the GFS starts going into the Gulf. So that's two major models that are disagreeing completely. Again, this has happened a whole lot. Again, it's very, very close, but we need to watch out if we need to make any preparations for areas in Georgia, South Carolina, maybe even Florida. Again, the same areas that we're worried about Dorian. It's also a very, very big deal right now because it could actually affect the areas that got hit by Dorian the worst, like in North Carolina islands. Again, that's why it is such a huge deal right now, because we still, again, had major Hurricane Dorian affecting much of the east coast of the United States. And after that, we see a whole lot of systems here. But again, GFS really is just showing maybe hitting the Gulf. Now we're going to be looking at total accumulated precip to see how much rain we can see. Again, we don't really look at rainfall totals when it's this far away. But based on the GFS, we could see maybe only 3 to 4 inches in Florida. Not too much to expect there. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, guys, and bye.